We're live. We're here. It's time. MCU Mondays. Glad to be back. We had some unplanned time off, but that's what happens sometimes, and we deal with it. Now we're back to talk about not even Marvel so much today, but we're going to talk about some Marvel things. We're also going to talk about the disasters going on over at DC. It's worth mentioning. I mean, they're the other side of like the big comics coin, and they've been having so many troubles that we're gonna need most of the episode to talk about it. There's just so many things going wrong. But yeah, so as always, I'm joined by my co-host Debbie. Debbie, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, even though it is a Monday.
Even though it's a Monday. Well, glad you could be here. Glad I could be here so that you could be here. I know you were ready to go. Especially I was ready to go last week, and then I was like, I'm having a reaction to something. I'm just... So I could have shown up and just been spotted, but I didn't think that would be...
Yeah, hives wouldn't be a good look.
It's not fun. I think it's from Red Bull. I think I became allergic to Red Bull.
It's possible.
Probably...
Well, stuff's like drinking battery acid anyway.
I was going to say it was probably a good thing overall, so I'm not going to question it. But yeah, that was an unfortunate event. But anyway, David also joining us tonight. Glad to have you with us. How you doing?
I'm good.
All right, excited to talk about some
DC on Marvel Monday.
We're going to talk about Marvel first because there's not as much to talk about right now. Got some I Am Groot and maybe some She-Hulk news, but yeah, then we're going to get into that DC stuff. But before we do that, let's have our theme song.
She just cue the music.
Love it.
All right, so first on the docket tonight, we're I Am Groot. New shorts out on Disney Plus. And when I say shorts, I mean wow, they're short. It says 6 minutes, but I mean that includes like the 2 minutes of credits. So yeah, these are shorts. Like they're shorter than some of the Pixar shorts that I've seen. So. But I think there are, 6 of them?
Five or six,
Five of them, yeah. And they're kind of fun and adorable. I don't know. I would say my favorite one was the one where Groot he discovers like that little tiny civilization under the rock, and then they attack him with slings, and I was like, okay, this is pretty funny. And they start like attacking with lasers, and I was like, what? And then they have like airplanes coming in. So, I don't know. That was probably...
The best part of that was when he cracked a leaf and found out that that's what he wanted. And so he turns around. They
start eating it. Yeah.
And he turns around and grabs all those leaves, and then he goes, whoosh, and he crushed everything. And I was like,
give it to him.
And then that was it. That was like the end of the episode. I was like, oh, that was just beautiful.
Spoilers, yeah, they were
well, yeah.
too short for my taste. And I mean, I don't have young kids anymore, but I don't know. I think my kids would have been upset. It was such short episodes.
I liked it because I was able to wake up Wednesday morning, get ready for work, and then watch all 5 of them without,
Well, I did too.
Before I even left for work.
I didn't know how long they were, and wasn't really even sure if I could get through all of them because I didn't know if they were 5 or 10 minutes or what. So I got up early, like I normally do on Wednesdays, to watch Marvel stuff, and I had so much time left over. I was like,
oh yeah, they're very short.
And you know what? Thinking back now, that they were all really good in their own way.
They were. I just
The-
wish they were longer, and I wish there was kind of more Rocket in it, because the one with Rocket in it was hilarious.
Yeah, but the one
Well-
with Rocket also had Drax in it too.
Yeah,
in a
naked in
sense.
the shower.
Naked
but you
in the
don't
shower.
See
Oh.
him, like Rocket actually talks, which is what I was gonna say. Is that that's kind of the unique thing about them is that they're from Groot's perspective. I like that you could the only thing you would actually hear someone say is "I am Groot," and there's different ways he can say it, but that's all you hear, and I like that. I mean, they're shorts, and you can see Rocket interacting and the team interacting. Go watch Guardians of the Galaxy, but this is like I am Groot, little mini Groot adventures, like, and they're you can see like because he's an infant, he's a child, and there's that childlike sense of wonder or. And when he gets upset, then he starts freaking out and he cries. It's like 37 minutes later, and I was just like, okay, because like a kid, like a little baby, you know, it's gonna freak out for like longer than it necessarily needs to, and people do that too. But you know how kids will throw a tantrum, and it's just funny watching Groot throw a tantrum, and that one where they were dancing. First of all, I was like, well, that came out of nowhere. I was like, what if they just started dancing? Then they actually just start dancing and have a dance off, and then it's this beast, and I don't know where they are, but it's this thing that can like change shape, and it changes in this huge thing, changes in this small thing, but it looks just like Groot, and then he just locks it in the airlock, kicks it out into space, and goes, I am Groot, because he didn't like there being another Groot, apparently. I was just like, he's not afraid to murder stuff. He's not afraid.
Let's be gentle about this. He's not afraid to unalive stuff.
Unalive, yeah. Well, he doesn't know. He even kills that like bonsai tree, which was so funny when the little robots, they're taking care of him and like doing everything and fixing it when he's still in his little pot, and then he's getting too big for the pot, so it cracks, and they're like, okay, you go over here and we got a new tree and we're gonna take care of this, and ooh, look how great this thing is. And I was like, oh, cold-blooded. That's like you've started the process, you take care of yourself now. All right, that's
kicking him out of the nest, is what.
Yeah, kicked out of the nest. Lo and behold, he learns to.
Although the one with
walk.
the one with the magic mud was hilarious. I love that one.
Oh, just watching him grow and then he runs out of mud, and there's the
bird thing,
and he's like, I know how to solve this problem. I'll just skin that animal. That'll show you.
Beautiful.
So yeah, they're just fun little shorts. Very short. When I say short, I mean if you don't watch the credits,
you miss it.
Yeah, 3 minutes long.
You can watch all 5 of them, and it's about the length of a Bugs Bunny cartoon. All 5 of them together.
Yeah,
they're all really, really short.
I don't know. I think the cartoons were longer than that.
I said if you put them all together.
Yeah.
No, even then.
Oh.
I'm just being a bitch tonight, so.
All right.
Hi, Eddie.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. I don't even have my comments up. Hey, Eddie.
We are doing very well. So yeah, that was Groot. It's fun. It doesn't take any time at all. So if you have Disney Plus and you're looking for something, it's out there. And especially if you're a Guardians fan or you want to see more of little baby Groot, because he's a teenager now. Like, we didn't get to spend any time with him.
He's not fun anymore. He's a teenager.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, look at the acorns on you, pal. I mean, I am Groot.
I'm not boring.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah. If you want to see more of Baby Groot in action, check out I Am Groot on Disney Plus. So the other thing, I think Debbie, you mentioned there was some She-Hulk news, or I saw the thing with the Deadpool, or not Deadpool, Daredevil in like his yellow costume.
Yeah, his comic accurate costume.
Yes, a lot of people seem to be raising a stink about that.
Why?
Well, I mean, it's not as cool as the red costume.
It's not as cool as the red one.
Well, I don't know if this is gonna like, and I haven't heard anything about whether the new Daredevil show is gonna be, you know, taken off from where the Netflix series ended, or with him being in She-Hulk, and we know he's gonna be in Echo. if this is going to be like a soft boot for him, a soft reboot. Sorry.
That would be. I'm just still fascinated. I can't wait to see how him and Echo
communicate.
Yeah, I know, like he can basically see and stuff, but it's just what a combination.
Well, now was it brought up? Can she read lips? I mean,
I think she can, sort of.
Some,
okay. Yeah.
Because I think she did in Hawkeye.
I was gonna say it seemed like there was a scene there, but I wasn't for sure.
That's the thing about Daredevils, though, is like he actually, and especially when you hear him explain it, he's like, I can see more than any of you. It's a different kind of sight, but yeah, he can, like 3 floors away, tell the heartbeat of, so he has much greater control of his senses. Does she have any powers? Oh, can she, like, I guess she can do the thing where she copies people's combat styles. Is that would make sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know she's got in Hawkeye, she has a leg, missing a leg, but she's got a prosthetic leg. That's not necessarily a superpower unless they
but she uses
give you like
it
a super
well.
leg. Yeah, it's true. But it's not like, Daredevil gets his super abilities. But I think a lot of people are looking forward to seeing Daredevil and She-Hulk, especially since it's a lawyer show partially, and he is. How is he going to show up? Is he going to show up as Daredevil? Is he going to show up?
Here's my theory, and this is just a holy crap, knock it out of the park theory, but it's a theory. So the theory is that Charlie Cox is in She-Hulk, but only as Matt Murdock. He's only there as Matt Murdock. Now, the scenes that they've been showing us on the trailers and the TV spots and everything else is actually going to be the introduction of Deadpool, because She-Hulk is a fourth wall breaker, and this is going to be a sitcom. What better place to introduce Deadpool? Just my theory.
You don't need to introduce Deadpool. Actually, the best.
Well, no, I mean, not introduce. How about induct him into the MCU? Induct.
Well, I think they're gonna probably save that for whatever they're doing with Deadpool 3, but just because of the jokes that he's gonna be able to make. I guess if she's gonna be breaking the fourth wall, it depends on to what extent. I guess that she's gonna be doing that. So far, all we've seen is the trailer where she kind of looks at the camera and is like, "Oh."
Just my crackpot theory. So,
well,
Marvel has led us wrong before in trailers. That's all I'm saying.
True.
And I would not be mad at seeing Deadpool ever. Like, I'm usually very happy to see him. But I think, Daredevil is the big pull. Actually, what I'm looking forward to in She-Hulk is Abomination and seeing how that ties in.
The fact that Abomination is in it and that Wong is in it, now I want some closure on the whole Shang-Chi thing as to why both of them were at the Fight Club.
What is his deal in this prison? Like, Abomination. Because we see him in the trailer busting out of it, but
I read where this series takes place soon after, or maybe right after Shang-Chi.
No.
And it's also, I don't know if it was Titania that said it, but she was saying that this series will explain, it might be later on in the series, but it's going to explain what the heck happened to the Sokovia Accords. Because they just kind of,
they fluttered away with Infinity War.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like, do we care about those Accords anymore? Because it wasn't because someone with the red phone in the Sokovia Accords office called up Iron Man and Cap and said, "All right, we need to fix this." No, they just did it.
Yeah,
they figured it out, and they saved the day. And so the whole UN getting involved thing, it's like, do we really have time? Because maybe if they hadn't been having that fight over the Sokovia Accords, they could have been in a position to do something when he came around the first time.
It looks like he froze. Oh, there he goes. Maybe he froze again.
No.
He sure is trying real hard, isn't he?
I guess. It looks fine to me. It's the crazy thing that apparently I'm having.
You're way out of sync, yeah.
Yeah, and you're all blurry.
And you're frozen.
Well, I thought people need to know about blurry face syndrome.
It's probably a better look than Hives, so.
Yeah.
I think
You seem to be caught up now.
you didn't see the Hives. They actually weren't terrible, but hey, Stuart, long time no see. Well enough. When I'm not lagging. Anyway, so She-Hulk, that's a thing. Are you guys ready to talk about the DC disasters? The multitude of... I don't even know where to begin with that. I guess you could start with back that just like the Justice League itself, the Snyderverse was hit and miss. So like just them trying to come out with the movies they wanted to make was a problem. Like the movies didn't jive, they weren't hitting the right notes, and they were playing catch up to Marvel, and that rushed a lot of things. And yeah,
it was rushed.
Yeah, and so people were already like, the DC universe is not quite up to snuff as far like when compared with the Marvel universe, the way they're doing it now. There's just like, it's not just the movies are bad or this doesn't mesh. It's like the actors are having massive scandals or like massive bad press. Amber Heard, of course, like
she who shall not be named.
Yeah, well, Amber Heard, just so we all know who we're talking about. I don't think she's as famous as Voldemort. Anyway, and I don't even know, like, that's not something that I keep track of. Like, I don't follow those stories, but I am on social media, and so I see memes and stuff, and it's just like, I can tell from the memosphere that Morpheus was not a great movie, and that people are pissed at Amber Heard. So, and there's massive petitions out for her to be taken completely out of Aquaman 2.
Okay, so this raises a question for me, because at San Diego Comic-Con a couple of weeks back, Jim Lee, who's like one of the head guys at DC, had said that there is no future plans for the DCEU universe or whatever. So I'm like, okay, but you've already advertised Black Adam at this point, and you have advertised Shazam: Fury of the Gods. So are you going to end it there? Is that where you're going to stop? Is after the Shazam movie is out? But then they keep saying, well, Aquaman 2 is coming. And as of right now, Flash has not been officially canceled. So Flash is happening.
Despite the best efforts of Ezra Miller. And so my comedian friend, Tommy Simbazo, he was like, you know what? They should release Batgirl and call it Better Than Ezra. It's like, yeah, because they have canceled movies. They definitely canceled Batgirl.
Supergirl got shelved.
So they shut those two down, and that was not like we were in pre-production on this. They were full on in production. They were editing some of the stuff for like Batgirl and all these other, but they're just like, we have the almost finished movie basically done, and we're not going to release it. But we are still going to release the Flash movie. It's like,
I think it's a marketing scam. I think it's basically, we're going to make these movies, and we're going to make people scream for them, like they did with the Snyder Justice League cut. And then we're going to say, okay, fine, we're going to release them, but we're only going to release them on HBO Max. So if you want to watch them, you need to subscribe to HBO Max so you can watch these movies.
That is, especially with the Flash movie, I think that is totally what they should do, because I mean, if it comes out at the theater, I would probably go watch it because it's DC, but I would not be very happy about it.
Well, they've done reshoots for it too. They've actually brought Ezra Miller back for some reshoots, I heard.
Yeah, but
he's in jail.
Yeah, that wasn't recently, because there's been just a string of worse and worse nonsense coming from his camp.
Or maybe delay the film and do a deep fake and put Grant Gustin on there.
You know, that would be, they talk about doing a reboot of the DCEU, and this Flash movie would be the way to do it.
Well, yeah, you got Flashpoint.
Flashpoint, yeah.
That's how you...
It's the multiverse.
It's
the DC multiverse.
I was saying that since they announced a Flash movie. Do you remember? I've been like, hey, do you know how Marvel is introducing the multiverse stuff? And you know how DC has had movies that don't necessarily mesh together and they want to be able to do their own thing? All you have to do is introduce, this is happening on Earth 2. This is happening on Earth 15. And they already started doing that with the Batman. The Flash, I think, was just going to this is what's happening, casual audience, just so you fully understand. But yeah, and they've already committed to Joker 2 and things like that. So there are going to be other movies from DC, but they're just not, I don't think they're committed to the whole MCU. You have to watch this one, then this one, then this one. No, they're just we're going to try and make some movies that aren't terrible with people that aren't going to go insane and screw us over. Let's just try and nail that down first.
The CEO, sorry, the CEO David Zaslow, he's come out and said we're coming up with a 10-year plan.
We're coming up with a 10-year plan, and they're going to model it after
MCU.
Marvel. MCU, yeah.
I don't know if they should be that ambitious, because I mean, DC has just been so up and down.
All they have to
for
do
years.
All they have to do is go to the animated division, say, give us all your movies. Then they watch the animated movies that they made, and then shoot those shot for shot in live action, and you're done. That's a 10-year plan, and I don't think anyone would be disappointed, because their animated division has been kicking ass.
Their animated division does well. There have been a few that I've been disappointed with. The Death of Superman, the Reign of the Superman, and Return of Superman. Mainly because I grew up, when I was in high school, those books were coming out, and I was at the comic book shop weekly buying Death of Superman, Funeral for a Friend, Burial of Superman, and then you got the Reign of the Superman and the Superman Returns and everything. And I was just, I loved those books, and I read them over and over and over again. I mean, it was just insane with me. And then these movies come out, and I'm like, oh, they're doing an animated movie, and it's going to be great. And I'm like, you changed the story.
Yeah,
you had a storyboard written out in a comic book that you knew exactly what to film, and you didn't do it. Well, there's all these characters that nobody knows of. Who cares? Put them in there, and then people can figure them out.
That's why I liked watching Justice League Unlimited. When I was because there's the Justice League, and that was a great show, and you had a couple seasons of that with the main cat, and then you had Justice League Unlimited, where it's it's just
everybody,
every damn body that there is, and that's how I discovered the character of the Question. And he is a hilarious character. He doesn't have a face, and at one point he's being tortured, and they're torturing him for information, and he just keeps bringing up nonsense facts and conspiracy theories, and he just pisses off the torturer to no end. And I was like, I never would have known about this guy if he hadn't been in some random episodes working alongside the Huntress.
The Huntress and Green Arrow was one he worked with. Yeah,
that was where I really got introduced, because I was never I never had that many comics per se. I would maybe read them at friends' houses, but I didn't have that kind of experience with them. So I was mostly through television programs. Justice League Unlimited were right up there alongside X-Men and the Spider-Man. Yeah. Those were some of my favorite shows when I was growing up. But yeah, so copy some of that stuff and just put it on the big screen. I don't know. That's what you do.
Well, it seems like with the movies, up until maybe the last 4 or 5 years, they always stuck to the cash cows, Superman and Batman.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's all we got. And then we got Green Lantern, which I love Ryan Reynolds. And I don't mind the movie. Some of the special effects are wonky, but
Some of them
Just don't make the costume green or animated.
oh, but yeah, and then we got Wonder Woman, which was a huge hit. The first one, not the second one, because that one.
Honestly, I still have not seen that movie. I've
Well,
seen
Second one?
no, the first one. I've seen the first half of the first one,
Wow.
and that's it. And the second one we watched on Christmas Day when it was released, and I really wanted that 2 hours of my life back.
Was it 2? It felt like 3. I'm pretty sure it was. That was a bloated, bloated mess.
It was. Yeah.
I was watching that.
Point being, it was awful.
This got delayed so long that they were like, "Okay, we're releasing it so late. Just put everything in it. Everything that we had left on the cutting room floor, let's shove back into this thing." It was like Han Solo shoving Luke into the carcass to keep him warm on Hoth overnight. And it's like, I bet that did keep him alive, but he didn't come out smelling too great. So that is what happened to Wonder Woman 1984. It is the bloated, stuffed carcass of a tauntaun. I thought they smelled bad
On the
On
outside.
on the outside.
Yeah, I was really disappointed because I was so excited because the first one was so good, so I was really excited for the second one, and plus, Pedro Pascal was in there, Mando, so I was really excited for it. And yeah, I fell asleep. I think we watched it on Christmas Day.
They introduced the invisible jet, and then later they teach her how to fly. It's like the only reason she had an invisible jet is because she couldn't fly.
Yeah,
It's that there are other versions of her that can fly, but that's why you have the invisible jet. So they introduced it in this. It's like, oh, and then they just keep teleporting from area to area. It's like, you're in the Middle East. Oh, you're back in America now. And I'm like,
where are you fueling that plane at? And how is it getting so far?
And then at the end of the movie, she's just like, whatever, I'll just fly there. And it's like,
why haven't you done that?
what are we doing? How old are you, by the way? Aren't you like thousands of years old? You're just now figuring this stuff out? You're not the god of hammers, are you?
Yeah.
Which again, that scene also pisses me off because then he starts shooting lightning everywhere. I'm like, you're not the god of that either. You're the god of thunder. Somebody should get the god of lightning in here. He's probably going to be pissed. And in fact, now we know that he is because that's Zeus, and
he just has Hercules after him.
Hercules. After Thor took his lightning bolt and threw it through his chest, but he survived it because I don't know. because
he's Zeus?
I guess. I don't, because maybe you need that god killer sword to kill a god. I don't know. I only saw one god get killed in that whole.
It never really was explained.
They should have. No. It's bright colors, monochrome. Bright colors, goat. Yeah, that's the summation of Thor.
Screaming goat. It was a screaming goat.
Yeah, it's hard to miss. You know when the goat's around, unless you're deaf. So Echo would not get that quite as much. Anyway, Stuart brought up a couple of points I want to talk about. Said that Batgirl was so terrible, it said it would hurt the company if they released it. They showed it to test audiences, and it was hated. Now, I heard that as well, that it did very poorly. I also heard, and this is just conjecture, rumor, I don't know but I heard Black Adam also did not well in the testing.
Really?
Which may have just been a lie, but I heard that it was comparable or low, the score was comparable to something like Batgirl. And I was like, which surprises me because I would think more people would be excited for The Rock in anything. He's just box office gold.
Yeah. But it's not just that he's box office. I mean, they spent, if you watched it at San Diego Comic-Con, they did a lot as far as marketing goes for that movie. I mean, you had a trailer drop, and they had The Rock flying down out of the ceiling and lightning, and a lot of special effects. They spent some money plugging this, and for a long time too, people have even before this movie was announced, it was like they need to do Black Adam, and they need to put The Rock in there. The Rock needs to be Black Adam. I mean,
He's was perfect for the role.
It was just like saying Patrick Stewart needs to be Professor X back in the late 90s.
Obvious.
He just needs to do it. I mean, it's you're not going to get anybody else that's going to do any better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just become. It's like that's the obvious casting.
Yeah,
there's a famous actor, looks exactly like the character, and he's already a leader and a commander and other things. Like, he's got a British accent. Come on, make it so.
Make it so. Engage.
Yeah, but he was French there with a British accent.
Well, that was after years of space colonization. So
sure.
Just like the privileged accent of Coruscant. Oh, listen to Obi-Wan's clipped tones. Yeah, it's because he grew up in like the Jedi Temple. If he had grown up down in the slums, shut up, Poodoo. I don't know, just throwing some Huddy slang in there. But yeah, it's all about nature and nurture and.
So okay, this Batgirl movie, I obviously knew it was canceled. Is this a spin-off for the CW show, or was this completely new? I
think it was its own total thing.
Its own different thing.
But it was going to have Michael Keaton in it, apparently.
Oh, that's right.
There was a picture released of them standing like face to face, and then there was somebody in the background where I was like, if that's another main character, I could see how this got canceled, because what's happening with this? Like, the third person looked like, I saw, and then in the comments someone said, is that Sideshow Bob? Because like it was this person with like crazy.
You know what? It's probably that rendition of the Joker.
Which, if that's what it was going to look like, then, but I don't know. I wasn't that interested in the Batgirl movie. The only reason I even ever cared about Batgirl was because of whatever she was doing alongside Batman, or whatever her relationship with It wasn't like, Batgirl, the original character. It's like, no, she exists because Batman exists, and we can't just keep writing him out of the story. Like, that's what the CW show did, was like, Batman's gone now, Batwoman's gonna take over, and it's like, I was interested in Batman, not this person who's just saying it's time for a lady to do this job. And it's like, well, what happened to the man that was doing it? I'm concerned about the man. He's gone. He's disappeared. Do we not care?
Evidently not. Well, and that's another thing. The DC TV shows on the CW, I mean, they're all gone now, which makes me worry for like Doom Patrol.
I think I heard that Doom Patrol,
which I love.
I think I heard that that one was going one more season and it's done. I think Titans is the same way. I think they're getting rid of Titans as well.
No, I haven't watched Titans, but I love Doom Patrol.
I was pleasantly shocked by Titans. I saw the previews for it and I saw the casting and I was like, oh, this is gonna be horrible. And the first season wasn't horrible. It wasn't the greatest thing I've ever seen. It was okay, but it was better than I thought it was going to be. So I had very low expectations, but it was still better than I thought it was going to be. So
yeah, well, the CW shows kind of started going downhill after Arrow ended.
Well, yeah.
Well, the thing was, and what pissed me off, because they continued with the Flash and Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow, all them, but at the end of Arrow, they kind of hinted at the Super Twins.
Yeah,
and then it's just never touched on again, and I was like, and they had the whole setup for the Hall of Justice and everything, and then it was never touched on again.
It's a very similar situation, I would guess, as to what happened with Netflix's Marvel shows. hey, we're getting into a streaming service now. We're going to have our own streaming service. We want to provide the content for that service so we're not losing out. We don't have to put it through the CW anymore. Now, the only reason they would keep going is because they still do have people that watch that. But if they're going all into HBO Max, then you want to try and get as many viewers there as possible. So you create exclusive content for that. And that's where you're going to be putting your money. So that's where you can make the most money off of it. So just like with with Marvel shutting down all their Netflix shows, like they were planning on bigger and more stuff with that. But Disney Plus came along and they were like, no, if there's going to be any Marvel shows, they're going to be through this. So it's probably a similar situation.
But then why have Peacemaker on Amazon Prime?
Well, I just looked at
that's after the fact.
Came out with Sandman.
Well, Forbes is reporting right now that they have not canceled Doom Patrol or Titans. There's rumors going around that they're on the chopping block after the cancellation of Batwoman, but as of right now, nothing's confirmed.
Oh, well, you got Stargirl that's still going on over at the CW, which is a good show. Doom Patrol and I think the Titans and Stargirl, they all came from the DC's streaming service that didn't last more than a year and a half. And so, Stargirl came to CW, and then Doom Patrol went to HBO Max, which I don't know why they did that. Why not just move everything over to HBO Max?
Because they don't always necessarily own all the different things at the same time. Like even when The Flash was in its like first or second season, you had Supergirl that was coming out on ABC, and then that transitioned over just because of who owns the rights to what characters. Just like how Sony owns the rights for Spider-Man, and Marvel doesn't necessarily, they have to work out deals for when they get to use Spider-Man. Not all the DC characters for television rights were owned by the same. And then once you introduce streaming, like a whole new way of watching things, all those deals got all even more kind of messed up. Well, they might also let Amazon stream things like Peacemaker as long as they get part of the pie.
But I would think if you want to build your streaming service, why not?
Because Prime probably pays them
I suppose
they pay to show it.
It would just make sense to have everything on HBO Max if that's the way you want to go.
Does the world make sense, Debbie?
No, but it fucking pisses me off. So there you go.
That's why they did it.
He's in a bad mood tonight. Don't you remember? Come on.
I said I was going to be a bitch.
And the world doesn't care.
I know. Nobody cares. I don't care.
I didn't say that nobody cares. I said the world doesn't care. Like the planet.
The planet. The dirt and the rocks and the
Mother Gaia is a cold bitch.
And then they canceled Swamp Thing. They didn't even.
Yeah, that actually had the higher ratings.
Show. Yeah. And then, they canceled it before the first episode even came out. And I'm like, what in the world?
It's that DC disaster. It's just.
Yeah, they're just.
On every level, it's just like, hey, there's a catastrophe. Oh, no, an apocalypse. Don't look over there.
The thing with the CW as far as the shows go was, and because we've got Hulu, and Hulu just recently started streaming the CW. I mean, that became one of our channels just recently. And so I was like, oh, we got CW and Comedy Central. But I was looking at the CW and I was like, you know what, though? I haven't watched The Flash since like season 7. And I don't know. I mean, really, Luke and I used to love watching that show. That was our show. We would watch it. If we didn't watch it on Tuesday nights, whenever it came on, we would leave it recorded and we'd watch it Saturday morning first thing. And that was our thing. And then it got 7 seasons in, and it's like, you got the Flash showing up maybe once per episode. I mean, you had Barry in it a lot,
and then it becomes like it's
Team Flash. Yeah.
And then they literally have that line. It's like, we are the Flash, or I am the Flash. It's like, can you run super fast? No, you're not the Flash. Shut up,
Well-
Candace.
Well, then they made, I think it was season 7. They kind of made, maybe it was season 8. I don't know. I've lost track. But then they, then they made it the Iris West show,
Yeah.
which
That's what I meant, Iris.
I think that was the season. I think you're right. I think that was season 7 to where, and that was kind of the season where, in fact, I think that was the season that was cut short because of COVID.
yeah,
And,
We
they
are the
can't-
Flash.
they came back and kind of sort of halfway finished it, but it was very anticlimactic, and I was just like, I had to force myself to watch like the last episode just so I could say I need to finish off this season, but then I'm not going to watch it anymore. But at least let me finish this season.
yeah. I think I'm in the middle of last season. I have the CW app, but I get so annoyed with the 6 commercials they show, and they're the same commercial. And I'm like, I wouldn't mind commercials if you made them all different.
See,
but
that's how
no,
they get you. They're working you into because it used to be no commercials, and now it's,
Yeah.
well, fine, I'll take commercials, but not like this. It's like, no, don't concede, no commercials.
well, I quit watching on the CW. I just wait for it to release on Netflix, which is
Yeah.
why I'm catching up. So,
And
I
that's
got-
what
Yeah, but I heard
people do,
Netflix is
yeah.
supposed to be starting commercials too.
and Disney Plus.
Everyone is now that everyone has a streaming service. It's the next, but like Netflix has said that at least they're like, we're looking at a new way to do commercials. This is not going to be your typical broadcast television style commercial, which if they can actually find a new way to try and do commercialization, neat. But that really annoys me too. The like, you know, there's several commercials, but you just see the same one over and over and over, and it's like, no. And in fact, it does the opposite thing for me. Instead of like wanting to buy the product, it's like, I'm never going to buy this product. I'm carving into my arm on the list of things that piss me off to the point I will never support your business because you interrupted my show too many times.
And then
You
it got really bad during election season because at least here in Indiana, that's all, you seen the same political election, vote for me 6 times in a row, and I just wanted to either shoot the TV or shoot myself because I was just like,
Neither one of those is a great option. Put down the gun. Because then you shoot out your TV and you're like, well, now what have I got to do other than shoot myself?
Now we watch TV on our phones until I can afford a new TV.
So yeah, I'm always a season behind when it comes to the CW shows because I just can't put up with it anymore. I just wait till it comes out on Netflix.
Netflix generally gets everything at some point, but then they also, things are removed. So
I think you're right, Stuart. I think that was a big downer for me. Every once in a while, though, they'll be on Hulu, but I think you got to get Paramount Plus to get all the.
because that's what they say.
Even then, you don't get all of them.
Well,
they,
I think
they rotate them in and out because I don't know what it was. I thought, well, I'm kind of on a next generation kick, so I thought
it's on Hulu.
I'll watch it, and this was a while back, and I was just like, I can't find it. Or I wanted to watch one of the movies. I was like, where the hell is it? You're supposed
Wrath
to
of
be on
Khan.
Star Trek.
I had a hankering for Wrath of Khan the other day, and I was just like, I can't find it anywhere. Where is it? Amazon.
Star Trek on Amazon.
Is it free?
I mean, it's probably
That's
is it included with Prime?
Is it included with Prime?
Yeah.
It's never free.
Is it included with Prime?
How about I can find that for you real quick?
So yeah, Star Trek, and that's why I like the Batman movies and the Spider-Man. The Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies just came out on Netflix, and I rewatched some of them just because I was like, oh, there it is. And then I remembered just how great they were. My gosh, that first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Did you watch Spider-Man 3?
Well, no, I watched the first two. Yeah,
just the first two.
And I might go back and watch the third one.
Right?
It's not as good, but the first, oh my gosh, and J. Jonah Jameson, he's just perfect. Obviously, that's why they kept recasting him in that same role.
Nobody else could do that role, but
yeah, casting him for that role.
Star Trek 3 is on Prime. Star Trek 2 is not. Star Trek 5 is. No, not Into Darkness.
That's why you got to be buying those DVDs, or saving it on, giant hard drives, which I've a couple of those. Yeah.
Well, I have a lot of my movies that I watch frequently. I have them on my Vudu.
Who do you Vudu?
Vudu.
We have a Plex account that my brother and I share that has
like
literally thousands of movies.
Oh yeah.
Everything that he has and everything that I have is except for a few things. I got a few new things I need to take to it, but
yeah, I have
Jonathan. If you're watching, I'm bringing you some DVDs next time.
I have the same thing with my brother, or Plex account.
What's
very useful. It's just like a video sharing service, but it's like you have to, if you have the
digital
DVD
copy.
or whatever,
or the DVD.
Yeah, if you can burn it to your computer or whatever, upload it to Plex, and then your Plex account has all the stuff.
It stores it for you.
Yes.
Gotcha.
It's great.
I use that, and I have my own because I like to make sure I have it. Because that way, what if my internet goes out, as it sometimes does, and I need to watch something? I gotta have my own.
My brother has the server, so there have been times where, hey, Plex is down. Yeah, we had power outage out here.
That's why I need to have at least 600 hours of media to choose from. Without at least 600 hours
minimum, bare minimum.
That way I can spend like 15 20 minutes, an hour just deciding what to actually watch. That'll kill you some time.
Kiff, we have a conundrum.
What to watch. But when something shows up, like I already had, like that was the thing. I have Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2. I have them on my own thing. I have them on the Plex. But then it showed up in Netflix, and I was like, all right, yeah. Now I'll just say, new on Netflix. Now's the time. Get it while it's in season.
Oh, okay. So that
plump and juicy Spider-Man.
I came home the other day, and Luke was downstairs, and he was watching Civil War, Captain America Civil War. And I was like, all right, whatever. So I went upstairs, and I was watching whatever I was watching. I came back downstairs, and then he's watching Black Panther. And I'm like, okay, so he's watching Black Panther, and I'm like, are these on TV? Yeah, I'm watching them on TNT or TBS or whatever. I'm like, why? Turn on Disney Plus and you can watch it without the commercials.
No, son of mine.
What are you doing?
I did it. I've done the same thing. When I had cable, if Star Wars or whatever came on TNT, okay, I'm here for the next 2 hours. Even though I had it on DVD.
Yeah, you got it on DVD. I can't tell you the number of times where I've seen Star Wars on TBS, and I'm like, oh, they're doing a Star Wars marathon this weekend, and I'm like, yes. Wait a minute, I can watch these anytime I want to, and without the commercial.
Better. I can do this whenever I want, better than you can do it.
I've got. Not only do we have Plex, but I've got episodes 4, 5, and 6, the original trilogy, that were copies from the Laserdisc versions of those movies, which means that they are not the special editions. They are the original theatrical releases. That's how I watch my Star Wars.
Nice. It's hard to come by.
It is very, very difficult to come.
Especially
I have digital copies of the original cuts. How's that?
cultured palate when it comes to Star Wars. Oh, special editions. I couldn't.
Well, I used to have back in the day. Yes, back in the day, we recorded. I think it was New. Well, was it called New Hope back then? Just Star Wars.
Just Star Wars, yeah.
When it first came out on HBO, and my brother recorded it, and nobody was allowed to touch that tape.
Yeah.
You know, like
that was the one that you pull.
Or,
you pull the little tab out so nobody can record over it. The blocking tab.
But we would pop that in every Sunday morning while we're eating breakfast. You know, there in the front room. You know, I'd make pancakes, and you know, we just sit there with his kids and watch Star Wars every Sunday morning. from a tape from HBO.
Because HBO was commercial free.
Home box office.
Home box office.
That was back in the day when it was like HBO, Cinemax, Showtime, and the Disney Channel were all like the pay channel. You had to pay, pay extra for your cable subscription to get those channels.
Wasn't that one of their taglines? He was like, "It's not TV."
Yeah.
Are you watching? Hey, you guys watching TV? It's not TV. It's HBO.
Yeah. Yeah, you were pretty cool if you had HBO.
Yeah.
We never did. My dad only got the we ended up with Disney, but Disney came with Cinemax. So it was Disney and Cinemax, or HBO and Showtime, or all four. So we had Disney and Cinemax just because it was the Disney Channel.
Nice.
And they always played Star Wars on Showtime. So it was like
and you can see it when you're going through the channel listing. It's like, oh, Star Wars. Oh, it's
dang it. No, there was no channel listing. It was a paper book called TV Guide.
Oh, didn't you? Yeah. Also, what about the channel that like scrolled through every channel?
Yeah. And if you missed whatever channel you were looking for, you had to wait for it to cycle through again.
You shouldn't have got distracted by whatever bullcrap they were showing in the top third that has nothing to do with anything. It's like, oh, here's the weather. Well, I got to check that out, even though I'm going to be inside watching TV, and I missed my program.
Doggone it.
And you're just looking because you're like, maybe there's something better on like a different channel. Like, what if I keep going? Like, that's what I'd be looking for, different reruns of things. And others are like, is Scrubs on somewhere? Is Psych on somewhere? Check USA, check NBC. Like, make it like hit Fox. Maybe Simpsons is on for some reason. Then they did every Simpsons ever, and I was like, finally, a channel that just has something good on it. No matter what time I turn it on, it's gonna be The Simpsons. I'm generally fine with The Simpsons. Boom. That worked out so well for me when it was just like the Simpsons channel. They should have done that so much earlier than they did. Because now it's too late and Disney got them. Then again, Fox always made terrible decisions. So.
Oh, Lord. Another disaster.
Yeah, let's circle back because we're near at an hour here and I have to disassemble all this crap. So
we are way off track too.
Gotta get that. Yeah, so we're talking, about the DC disaster, and we started then talking about the state of television and streaming, which is an interesting topic. I have no problem that we talked about that. These are the things that are happening like right now. So very interesting stuff, and that kind of does relate back to what we were talking about, because it's not just the DC movies that are in trouble. It's everything that they're doing is kind of just. There are eruptions and catastrophes and apocalypses everywhere. And as we know from X-Men Apocalypse is not fun. It's not a good thing.
I tried to watch that again the other day, by the way. Couldn't do it. Just could not.
Oscar Isaac went into that much makeup for that role, and it turned out like that. Meanwhile, Jennifer Lawrence had stopped even getting blue at that point. She's like, I want to play Mystique, but I always just want to look like myself. And I was like, do you know who this character is? And because
you know her motivation,
she's known for not looking like herself, and when she does look like herself, she's blue. She's like, well, I want to look like the human version of me. Well, that goes against everything you did in the first movie, where you came to realize how much stronger you were. But whatever, you don't like wearing the makeup, Jennifer Lawrence. Okay, I guess we'll let your star power dictate how we film this movie. That's going to work out great for everyone. It always.
Are you kidding me? This baby is off the charts. Why?
Oh, a sarcasm detector. Oh, that's a really useful invention.
Anyhow, yeah. Is there anything that you guys are looking forward to from DC? Let's phrase that, because we've talked a lot about things are looking disastrous all over the place. Is there anything on the horizon DC wise that you guys are looking forward to?
I was looking forward to the second Joker movie until I heard
Lady Gaga was casted, and then it's going to be a musical.
You've lost me.
Lady Gaga didn't bother me, but it was just the fact that they're going to make it into a musical, and I'm like,
what is this? Some kind of joke?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Looking forward.
And here we go.
Took me a second to find that. Sorry, Debbie.
That's all right. Looking forward to Shazam, and I am really looking forward to see Black Adam.
Black Adam.
I'm curious about that one.
I'm definitely going to see it. And again, I don't know if that thing that I heard, if that was just somebody randomly trying to defend Batgirl by making some stuff up and being like, "Well, Black Adam did terrible." Like I don't know the validity of that.
I haven't seen anything about it being bad. It's mostly
either.
been the Batgirl and Ezra, and they're doing some reshoots on Aquaman, so maybe they'll do a deep fake on
Amber Turd,
which would please me to no end.
You were talking about memes. I don't follow any of that. I didn't follow any of that crap either. And that's the one meme that keeps popping is something about her crapping in the bed. I don't
really crap the bed this time.
I don't know.
And we can prove it in a court of law.
And she tried to blame it on these little teacup Yorkies. And if you've seen the picture, it's like there's no way that came out of a teacup Yorkie.
Bigger than the dog. It doesn't make sense scientifically. So Geek and I podcast back me up. He too has heard that those who've seen Black Adam think it's a dumpster fire. Which again, surprising. We'll just have to wait and see. That's at least we will get a chance to see it. That's the other thing about like Batgirl is like they're not even releasing it. How much money did you spend making this movie? Don't you want to try and recoup some of the losses? That's how bad it has to be that they don't even think they can make any money back on it. Like, or again, since again the DC is changing hands of like who's in charge and who's making the final decisions on this. The most recent person in charge is like, well, I didn't like some of the stuff that we were doing, so we're just gonna can that stuff and go in the direction that I want to go.
My thought on Black Adam is I'm after Birds of Prey and even really the last Suicide Squad movie, I was just like, I'm done with DC. I've completely given up on DC, and for some reason, I'm willing to give Black Adam a chance. Maybe it's because it's The Rock. And I
even like that first teaser they had. The first teaser where he like electrocutes the guy into bones. And I was like,
it looked good.
Cool.
That's what I was hoping for. That's so. Of course, then you have to build an entire movie around
him zapping somebody into bones.
Just that. Yeah.
Oh, and then they went and screwed over Henry. And said, we're not doing any more Superman. Well, at least not with you. So. And
he was a really good. I think he looked perfectly in the role.
But Johnny's got it right here. Not dark, brooding, and an angsty sourpuss.
But I think that's not even. Like, that's not Henry's fault. Like that's the direction.
That's the writing.
That's what he was. That's how he was told to act. Yeah, that's what exactly like Johnny said. That's not on Henry, though. I mean, he could have played it however they wanted him to. Superman needs to be that, like...
hopeful, happy,
like, nice.
The bright light in a dark universe.
And he's constantly like, do you know what I could do to you?
But now there's rumors that he's in talks with MCU.
Yes, I have heard that.
So...
Captain Britain.
That makes me happy.
Or yeah, isn't that
Captain Britain?
Captain Britain.
Yeah.
That would
He could
be
do
good.
that. He could do a couple other things. I mean, again, if you look
That man can do
Superman,
anything. Thank you very much. I mean,
DC
we're
is in
talking
such a
you.
poor state that I want more from the Snyderverse. Well, I gotta
disagree with you.
I would like to see the movie or whatever that would have come from the Snyderverse ending, where they show that alternate future from the nightmare, where like he's teaming up with Joker and the Flash in his other suit. Although recast the Flash, I don't care. I never liked Ezra Miller before he went crazy. All right, as
Me
the Flash.
neither.
Okay,
I
and
didn't
now
like
since then it's just ridiculous. It was terrible casting. But yeah, that the ending of the Snyderverse. Now there's other parts of the Snyderverse that are just ridiculous. Like if you had used the appropriate amount of slow motion in that movie, it would be an hour shorter. Everything in that movie is slow motion, and when everything is slow motion, it completely loses.
It's worse than a Peter
impact.
Jackson movie. Peter Jackson.
Yeah,
does all
they
slow
need
motion too.
to, less is more. Kind of like, with X-Men, with Quicksilver. I love his, when he does his little slow-mo things, but it's just here and there. And
Once a movie.
I think that the problem with and this was the issue that I had, and I've had it for a long time. Like when the Snyder cut came out of Justice League, and everybody was like, "Oh, good, they're gonna fix it, and it's gonna be right," and all this other stuff. And then they came out, and it's 4 hours long. And I was sitting there, and the first 2 hours, I was like, so much exposition, so many backstories. If they had just done individual movies for these characters before they went with the Groot movie, this would have been so much better to start with.
And that's not even necessarily Snyder's fault, because they were like, you have to do like these. They did rush all that stuff, and they should have had individual movies for those characters. But since they didn't, this was this was like his opportunity to kind of be like, let's actually give enough backstory for these things to make a little more sense. And it does, but that makes like a movie that's too long. Like that's why it shouldn't have been that way. Yeah.
Thank God it wasn't in the theaters, because I would not have lasted.
No, I was, and like I said, I was just Batman versus Superman was like, I was like, oh, okay, this is fun because it's Batman and it's Superman and everybody likes those guys. And then Justice League came out, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then Suicide Squad came out, the first one, and I'm like, oh no, what are you doing?
No.
And they
love
just
the trailer. Love me that queen, but
they just kept getting worse. I mean, just worse and worse. And I'm like, no, can't make a good movie. Come on.
right,
I can
so
armchair
Johnny,
quarterback this all the time, but
yes, you can put Superman in hard situations, dark situations, which test him. Many of us keep coming back to him because he stands true to what he believes, and that's hope, light, giving your best. And yeah, that's why so many of these shows like The Boys and Invincible have that other side of like what Superman could be like, and that's why they're interesting, because he's not like that.
I still haven't finished the third season of The Boys.
Yeah,
I started it. Well,
pretty sweet.
it's hard to find time.
She's just in love with the kid from Supernatural.
I got kids at home. I can't watch that.
Vincent Ackles, thank you very much.
Ackles, yeah.
Soldier Boy.
And he is hilarious and great in that show. So.
And in fact, that
in both
first
shows, really.
that first episode of the third season where he blew that guy up, and how he blew that guy up, I'm like,
when you're talking about The Boys, you do have to like specify which episode and which. When he blew that guy up
from the inside.
Narrow it down.
Yeah, my
Oh,
jaw kind of like just.
Well,
did they just do that?
too.
Holy hell!
when he shrank and he was like, okay, blah blah blah, and he's doing all this stuff, and I'm like, where is he? And then it backs up. I'm like, oh no, don't do that. And then he sneezes.
It's like, yeah, I don't know what you
What a
thought
great
was going to
show.
happen. I don't know why you thought this was a good idea.
Ah,
Oh, probably on the drugs. Okay. Right. I forgot about all those.
All the drugs that they're doing.
oh,
Okay. I think we're going to wrap it up here because, you can make fun of DC all night, especially, and that's actually one of the things I do like about The Boys is they make fun of they made fun of the Snyderverse. They made fun of Marvel. They make fun of like all sides of it. And they can do that because their show is different. You know, they're like a mirror reflecting that other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty awesome. It's pretty cool. Definitely recommend The Boys. If you're looking for if you're disappointed in DC and you want something crazy, awesome superhero to watch,
Crazy is a good word.
Peacemaker, it's good.
Peacemaker is a lot of fun.
Okay.
Get over it, Dave. Just fast forward through that part, and you'll be fine.
Well, it's not just that part. Like I said, I've really lost faith in DC just from the last few movies. So
Peacemaker's good. It's good.
Actually, yeah, Peacemaker is pretty good.
Sandman's good. I
do want to watch that.
It was good. I binged it over the weekend. So
what is that? That's Netflix, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Alrighty. Well, that's it for us tonight here on MCU Mondays. We'll be back most likely, most hopefully. I don't know why we wouldn't be next Monday. Talk about more MCU stuff. Debbie, thank you as usual for joining. David, do you have Thursday night this week?
Thursday night we will be same time. Well, same time, 8:30 Central Standard Time, same channel, right here at GNN. We're going to be Cantina Happy Hour. We're discussing the Siege of Mandalore arc and the Order 66 arc from the Clone Wars, the last like 4 or 5 episodes of the Clone Wars.
Yeah, if you want to join us, it's season 7, episodes 9, 10, 11, and 12.
See, Debbie keeps me in line.
All right.
Here.
So tune in Thursday for the Cantina Happy Hour to talk about some Clone Wars, Siege of Mandalore, Order 66. Very cool stuff. Very awesome arc. And come back next week for more MCU Mondays. That's it for us tonight. Thank you for joining us and all your great comments. Loved having those comments. We love to see what you guys are thinking and feeling. And
real quick,
on the screen.
Next Monday, She-Hulk comes out in like 3 days.
So we'll be talking about She-Hulk.
Oh yeah, She-Hulk episode.
So
1.
we'll have She-Hulk.
There you go.
1 episode, right? I don't think they're doing.
I don't think they're not pulling a Star Wars and dumping double episodes on us.
Damn it.
We shall see.
Who knows? They'll do whatever.
Yes, we will next Monday. See you then.
Shit! Language. Wait a second. No one else is going to deal with the fact that Cap just said language? Just slipped out.
Find the scepter.
And for gosh sake, watch your language.
That's not going away anytime soon.
You bet your ass.
Steve, you said a bad language word.
Did you tell everyone about that?
The handle's imprinted.
Out with the platinum bastard.
Steve doesn't like that kind of talk.
You know what, Romanoff?